It's May 19th, 2022. This morning, it's been an interesting morning. The 6 o'clock news on Channel 2 on CBS. The day started with a mention of the Intrepid ship again, which I went, Tia Frio brought me there, and I walked around by myself. He and I separated. I don't know if he knows anything about the ship. And I tried to read some of the signs, but again, without like a scholar on it. And then I tried to ask if there was a tour of some sort, but on the day that we went, there wasn't. They said normally they walk around with yellow shirts. I think he said yellow shirts. He said, but for whatever day we went, they weren't there. So I tried to just observe some of the artwork pieces, but there was no verbal cues of any significance. And then and then they speak of this Top Gun movie. Again, they speak of the actor Tom Cruise and his local box office debut in this year, 1986, 19th century, 8th decade, 6th year, and then how it went global, which I didn't know. I was too young at the time. And then they show real life pilots with red, white, and blue, like gas or dye or I don't know what you call the clouds outside the back of the vessel or the vehicle. I call them Machiavellis, but the Americans, I don't know what they know or what they think or what comes to mind. It's frightening when speaking to one. So I watched that, but there's not that in real life in New York that I've ever seen. I've never, if they have days that they come to town, they don't, there's no word that they send to let anyone know to gather. It doesn't hit my life frame. But then again, there's been a lot, it seems, that they've kept me away from, and I don't know why. Then later on in the CBS Mornings program, totally different program, they make mention of NASA. They have a man. I have the Intrepid jumpsuit that I bought at Anthony bought at the gift shop for my son, that he wears. And they show a man in a blue one that had a NASA logo on it. And he has some other patches on his jumpsuit. And then they go into talking about something else. Tony Jacobo said something about personalizing it. I don't know. And then there was like an air quote. So I'm not quite sure about that. But this is what it looks like from my end anyway, of what their mentions are. Oh, and then Elon Musk's mother was on, which I forget her name and I apologize, but she's on the cover of Sports Illustrated. She's been able to maintain being slender, unfortunately, in this New York, wherever or however they're working biochemistry. Linda and I have not been able, or so lucky. I know she mentioned she was a dietitian. She's just very fortunate that she was not subjected to whatever we got going on here that we can't escape from at this point, because we've just been, rerouted into a nothingness that it's like, I don't know how to get out of this nothingness.
Every month, 90,000 patients throughout New York and New Jersey trust ENT and Allergy Associates to provide safe access to over 300 specialists and subspecialists close to home. Book a same-day appointment today.
Now, this Top Gun Anthem that's playing in the background, junior high, I was on the gymnastics team, and whoever was the coach then put on this particular song, and she said that with no words to it. She's like, I want you to make a floor routine out of this, like free flow, free form. So I did. I didn't know that this was the Top Gun anthem, though. I had no name for it. And when I was young, in local area, in Bayside, I think there was a YMCA. I don't know if it was CYO, whatever. But there was a woman who used to teach like 14-year-olds, but somehow I got invited to that team. And she gave me a trophy once, and the name on the trophy was Hot Stuff. I was young. I mean, it was significant then, I suppose, because they got to go and compete. I didn't. But I at least got to hang out with the older girl, well, the coach, and watch whatever. And that was like a highlight of that day and age because, again, it was something outside of Linda's brothers and sisters and my cousins that, whatever, didn't have a specialty, and getting to participate in somebody else's specialty, which I liked.
Hey, everybody, welcome. I sound a lot like them, don't I? Yeah. 8 days and counting until Top Gun Maverick debuts in theaters here in the US of A. Reviews on it are fantastic. Live pictures of the Intrepid right now. There's an F-14 Tomcat on the deck of that Intrepid right now. We can't wait to see it next week. We don't want to give away anything, but we're going there next week, and we cannot wait. And by the way, on this Throwback Thursday, as we're listening to a little Top Gun anthem, on this day back in '86, Top Gun, the #1 movie at the box office and the highest grossing movie for that year, took in $177 million in the U.S., $353 million at the global box office, and it made that man in the middle of your screen right there, Tom Cruise, a global phenomenon. And guess what? 36 years later, Top Gun Maverick, I guarantee you right now, Take It to the Bank, is going to smash the box office next week when it comes out. Hey, a little bit more for you yesterday. Top Gun Maverick premiering at the Cannes Film Festival.
Yeah, this. I've never seen this live. I don't know where, I don't know who you have to know in order to view something like this live, but I haven't even been able to get to that from the ground to view, to appreciate, to like stand in awe at that ground level. I mean, it's been really pathetic just how held away from anything like in pursuit of happiness category that this has been.
Festival with the French Air Force providing the flyby. The sky lit up in red, white, and blue. Star Tom Cruise receiving the Palme d'Or, which is the highest prize awarded at the film festival, followed by a 5-minute standing ovation. Yeah, Tommy, we love you, big fella. Top Gun Maverick premiering in the U.S., as I mentioned, next Friday. Of course, it is a Paramount production, so my company loves the fact that I love this movie and remember where I was in Ridgewood on Main Street back in 1986, having watched what I felt was a movie that transformed my life. Let's get over to John Elliott right now, who is in the Weather Center.
Just a real quick question.
Yeah.
How 36 years later does Tom Cruise look the same?
He looks great.
I mean, it's crazy. Which came first, Risky Business or Top Gun?
Risky Business.
Yeah, because that kind of got the runway
Risky
going.
Business, all the right moves, and then this, which set him to the next stratosphere.
Tom, if you're watching. Good morning, everybody. So, one of our colleagues, Pete Feiner, we like to consider him our Top Gun. He's trying to go green and everything. Took the scooter in this morning. He's soaked right now. It's pouring out there. So you do have to factor in a little extra time, particularly out on the island. It's really nasty. Rain and fog and 55, winds are calm. So yeah, I mean, here's the...
Right now, this is a happening today in New York City. They mention a holiday I've never heard of. They refer it to AAPI. It's called Diwali. Again, I had to look it up, but then it brings into Avatara. That I understood. But some of these things, I mean, again, there's no teachings here. And again, that gets onto a hairline trigger with other things, which is really frightening, being left here like this all alone and this larger-than-life fight going on in some whatever between and the reincarnate and something that the locals are not, well, the locals outside of what just arrived are not used to.
The New York City Council will introduce new legislation in honor of Asian American Pacific Islander Heritage Month. 5 council members will announce the new proposals during a rally this morning at City Hall Park and formally introduce the measures this afternoon at a city council meeting. They're calling for the inclusion of AAPI education in New York City public schools. They also want to make Diwali a school holiday here in New York City.
And also happening today, students from schools across the city are staging a walkout in support of abortion rights, from middle schoolers to college students, young advocates.
Now, are these abortion rights, is that really about a woman being pregnant, or is that about taking on these suggestions of others, and if one does not feel comfortable with what they want you to wear, that you can have the right to renege on it and back out peacefully without harmful repercussions? I'm just curious, because it feels like a lot of forced touching and forced announcements and forced suggestions, and I really don't see the future very clearly. I haven't seen the future clearly since I was a child and where I fit in. But I certainly now, after some of this has been revealed, I'm even more frightened.
Advocates are set to leave their schools and head to Union Square for a 1 o'clock rally. And then from there, they'll...
And then I go back to this Lawrence of Arabia, and I'm like, great, so Great Britain gave second-class citizens some form of freedom or a taste of freedom. And what did they do with that freedom the minute they got it? They went after the children of Great Britain and the children of Lawrence of Arabia in looks, and they withheld them from being able to even have a pursuit of happiness, because that's actually what my story has played out at, not what I pursued. In fact, I don't know how to get away from the storyline.
They'll march to Washington Square Park at 1:30. This walkout comes after the leak earlier this month of a draft Supreme Court opinion suggesting the court could overturn the law legalizing abortion.
Well, former Mayor de Blasio plans to make it.
Here's the piece about the space part.
You're looking at Cape Canaveral in Florida, where Boeing's Starliner spacecraft is on the launch pad.
Again, another picture I've seen before. I've never been invited down to even witness anything, to stand on the ground in awe at however crowds gather and cheer on astronauts. Again, this part of life that goes on, I've been held in MIA POW at the hand of some insidious, ongoing plight. And I don't know who really fights for, I don't know, where are freedom fighters? I have no idea. It's been a little difficult when there were specific inroads that could have been made, an opportunity and doors opened, and yet no one arrived or no one did.
set for a crucial test this evening. The aerospace giant plans to send its multi-billion-dollar vehicle to the International Space Station after a series of delays. Chris Van Cleve is at the Kennedy Space Center. Chris, good morning. What more can you tell us?
Well, good morning. Starliner's already experienced more than 2 years of delays, costing Boeing around $600 million. The aerospace giant is hoping the third time will be the charm here. A successful mission could clear the way for Starliner to carry astronauts for the first time and get Boeing's space program back on track. For the third time, Boeing's Starliner has been rolled out to the launch pad and hoisted atop a 172-foot tall Atlas V rocket.
Symbolically, I'm trying to follow the storyline, but I'm grappling and having trouble, having not been part of the negotiations or conversation my entire life, having been kept out of enlightenment in the dark, and as savoir or avatara, in my last name is Cattaruzza, and it's Atara. Utsa.
Its mission, autonomously dock with the International Space Station, giving Boeing's reputation and place in the space race a much-needed boost.
We need to go up, fly the spacecraft without humans on it, demonstrate the automated systems, and come back safely.
In 2014, NASA gave Boeing and SpaceX multi-billion-dollar contracts to develop new spacecraft that could fly American astronauts to the ISS, ending the dependence on Russia. Newcomer Elon Musk said SpaceX could do it for $2.6 billion. Boeing, the tried and true aerospace juggernaut, was awarded $4.2 billion.
Ignition. Liftoff.
While SpaceX soared, launching 5 NASA crews on its Dragon spacecraft to the ISS since 2020, Boeing's Starliner stumbled.
And liftoff. The rise of Starliner.
This 2019 launch got Starliner into space, but a software glitch prevented its onboard engines from firing on time.
And we do have an off-nominal insertion reported.
The spacecraft failed to reach the ISS. A second attempt last August was scrubbed after tests at the launch pad discovered 13 stuck valves in Starliner's propulsion system.
We think we solved the problems, so now the crew, we're no longer concerned.
Astronaut Mike Fink is training to be on Starliner's next mission. What are you personally watching for?
We're looking for the technical side to work as well as it can. So if everything looks good, we have a nice smooth entry and landing, then it just builds up confidence and reduces risk for the next crew.
And where is your level of confidence right now?
My confidence is really high. There's the unknown unknowns, of course, but everything that we can do ahead of time, I think we've done.
Launch is currently set for about 7 o'clock local time this evening. If all goes well, astronauts could hitch a ride on Starliner before the end of the year. If you're wondering, why does NASA want a capsule from SpaceX and Boeing in space? Redundancy is a good thing. Tony, think about it this way. If you need to take the kids to the doctor in your car, SpaceX has a flat tire, wouldn't it be great to be able to go into the garage and hop into Boeing?
Okay.
Okay, yeah. That's landed for me. I appreciate it. Way to personalize it. Van Cleve. Thank you. All right. Up next, Vlad GJ's got the stories we'll be talking about today, but first it is 7:44. Time to check your local weather.
Good morning, everybody. It has been a challenging morning. We are going to see a welcome to change during the course of the midday, and then this afternoon with some breaks in those clouds right around 70. Late afternoon shower can't be ruled out, but
So it is star 1978, star 8378, Nicole, Cattaruzza. It's Earth, solar system, Milky Way, universe, galaxy is broken, and it's Bayside Station, Bayside, New York, 11361. Today's May 19th, 2022. Oh, and also, actually, Elon Musk's mom was on, I'll put that piece towards the, right now, towards the end, so this way you finish on a good note. Actually, before I get to Elon Musk's mom, there's a piece, this Nick Saban. I'm listening to the entire piece that they put on the CBS this morning. I'm not part of this sports league that I'm aware of. I know there's a lot of people that participate in it. I'm listening to him with some new lingo or jargon, lingo, vernacular. I'm sitting here grappling with Now, what on earth, how does that really work in the real world of like what I'm talking about? Because I'm not at that level and I haven't been doing that conversation my whole life. I know that they live in some paradox or some parallel dimension, but it doesn't filtrate into couch potato very well at the moment because it's just been a lifelong lesson of nothingness. And I'm just starting to like look to the human intelligence realm to see what everybody else is up to like how are they speaking to one another. And some of y'all confuse me.
Bravo, Selena Gomez. All right, let's talk about this now. Famed college football coach Nick Saban is complaining about name, image, likeness deals in college sports again. The man who's led Alabama to 6 national championships said last night that rival Texas A&M, quote, bought every player in its new recruiting class. Saban acknowledged NIL deals are here to stay, but said it's going to cost Alabama recruits when donors and collectives at other schools can offer them more money. He said this will eventually lead to school players outright. And Saban called out another team by name. Listen to this.
We have a rule right now that says you cannot use name, image, and likeness to entice a player to come to your school. Hell, read about it in the paper. I mean, Jackson State paid a guy $1 million last year that was a really good Division I player to come to school. It was in the paper, and they bragged about it.
This is part of the Title IX that's been violated. They didn't even pick me up for soccer. They didn't pick me up for swimming. 2 main things that I was playing. I played basketball, but I really didn't like it. And I played volleyball. I mean, like, there's a couple of things that I've done. And then summer camp, I did archery. I mean, like, there's a whole bunch of stuff that they allowed me to try out for. Just nobody ever picked me up for anything. So, Title IX violated.
Nobody did anything about it.
So in a tweet yesterday, head coach Deion Sanders said, "You best believe I will address that lie." That's what he wrote. That Coach Saban told tomorrow. Lots to unpack in what Nick Saban said. First of all, the audacity to say that a Division I player shouldn't go to an HBCU. There's that. But
no idea what an HBCU is.
But also, my man has made millions of dollars off of the backs of young college players over the course of his career.
Sure, but is there some truth to a player getting money to go to Jackson State?
We don't know. Deion Sanders said he's going to address that. But, I hear you, Vlad. Him saying Travis Hunter was a really good D1 player. He still is a D1 player. Right. He just chose an HBCU in Jackson State. Some would say this is the world evening itself out, balancing itself out, because Alabama for so long has been a recruiting monster.
You're buying players anyway when you're building nap pods and getting them deals for shoes and clothes and everything. All right, recruiting is already a money involved enterprise.
Yes.
I'm just saying, hi, hand raised. I've been raped. I've been mutilated. Somebody snuck into my house. I woke up and my entire abdomen was carved up. They've tried to assassinate me. I've woken up in places on front lawns. I have no idea how I even got there. I wasn't doing anything prior to. So I'm just a little confused how this conversation takes precedence over my personal safety and my inability to get to even one man that can protect me for the rest of my life.
Talk about the upfronts,
but I like about the upfronts yesterday. We walked in, the 3 of us. We're feeling pretty good.
On the red carpet.
The photographers are taking our picture. They go, "Guys, where's Vlad? Where's Vlad?"
And I didn't believe y'all. I came out. I did not believe you all.
Look at that.
And then they told us, "Get out of the picture. We want Vlad."
Nate actually grabbed the camera.
All right, they're counting us off. We'll be right back.
None of the shots worked, I have to say. We'll be right back. It's true. I talked to the photographer.
And their main concern is walking down some kind of carpet. I mean, woohoo, humanity. Here's the eye-opener on the way to the other interview.
We know where the product is, and we know we do not have enough.
President Biden invokes a Defense Production Act to address a nationwide shortage of baby formula.
To ensure that manufacturers have the necessary ingredients to make safe, healthy infant formula here at home.
growing recession fears hammer the markets. They suffered their worst drop in nearly 2 years.
There could be a period here where things slow down and wages are not rising enough to actually afford all the stuff that's getting more and more expensive.
The alleged gunman behind a racist supermarket.
Yeah, they think the story is going to bring joy. Some guy holding up mirrors.
Joy to your day. We can all use a little bit of that. This morning, we're talking about a simple act, making an impact on graduation day. This is Harrison Kramer holding up mirrors for graduates at Regent University in Virginia to help them adjust their caps and gowns before they cross the stage to get their diplomas. He's not a graduate's dad, he is just a volunteer. I like it, right? He's just a volunteer who has done this for nearly 20 years. Harrison says it started when he was a student. He told us he wants to make sure every single graduate feels special.
Oh, that's awesome.
I say, wow, you did it. And holding up these mirrors, in a lot of ways for me, is like saying, hey, you know what? I honor you and I congratulate you. And I say, you did it. You did it.
I love this. So Harrison told us
Well,
he didn't
I got a
know
version
about